I get some amazing questions. Here is a guy who says he does not have enough money for retirement because according to the formula which I had given him, which is 30 times the estimated expenses at the age of 60, and he says he does not have enough money. And he and his wife had come to meet me at some social function, and they were talking, and he was asking me a very simple question: should I add US funds? Should I add small cap funds? Should I add I think technology and China funds to increase my return on my portfolio? And this was before this Chinese fall, so he was seeing that it was growing at a very good rate. He had a China fund in mind, and he wanted to know whether he should add these funds to his portfolio. Now the problem is, when you are in the media, you're used to answering questions the way people ask. So the first question when somebody asks you is, should I increase exposure to China fund and small cap fund and US fund to improve my returns? The answer for a typical journalistic view is yes, just keep increasing. So I was not willing to say that, and I said, okay, let us get some of the facts clear. How much do you think will be your expenses? So his expenses at retirement was supposed to be 1.5 lakhs per month. Hold your breath. He is not staying in a rented house. Yes, he is driving a nice fancy car. He travels a bit, and his expenses were 1.5 lakhs per month, including society charges and all that. And he had done all the calculation of his annual expenses, once in a while expenses divided by 12. He had done all that, and he had come to 1.5 lakhs, and he said 1.5 lakhs is what I'll be spending per month. Now 1.5 lakhs into 12 is 18 lakhs. 18 lakhs into 30 was about 5.5 crores. So he needed 5.5 crores. He had something like 3 crores. So he was 2 crores short according to the formula and according to his monthly expenses. So I said, well, doing all this will definitely improve your yield, which means it could improve your yield, because risk is about that, right? About doing something which is risky to improve the return, but with the chance that if it fails, then your capital gets wiped out, right? To that extent. So if he's put 50 lakhs or 30 lakhs into one of these funds, and that fund goes kaput, where he will be down by another 25 lakhs. So his 2.75 will become 2.5. That was the risk I explained to him. And that set me thinking, and I said, let us look at your expenses, right? So all of us have got into this mental framework of saying we should save X percentage of our income. That is true. You have to save an X percentage, but each person's case could be different. So 10% saving is the base case. You know, if you can't save even 10%, then you're in trouble. Rather than 10% is what you should save. The question is, some of us can say these things on video or write about it. The question is, I do not know how the people read it and comprehend it. So when I say you should save 10% of your income, I'm saying you should save at least 10% of your income. I'm not saying you should save only 10% of your income. So this man had saved reasonably, and he had put some money in equity recently. Again, he must have been in his 40s at best, when he put money into some equity funds, which have luckily done well over the last year also. So it has done reasonably good. And he is about 53 years of age. Therefore, the better way to estimate his expenses would have been taking higher inflation, but he had assumed based on his current status. Simple examples would be, when eating out, they would eat only at least a 4-star, 5-star kind of a hotel. So those were big expenses. He was driving a BMW, and he wanted to continue his BMW beyond his retirement. I have nothing against. I don't think anything is wrong in doing whatever you want, but I can only put it in an Excel sheet and say what works and what doesn't work. So in this case, it was not working. He did not have the capacity to spend that kind of money in retirement. Right now, his company was paying for the fuel and for the insurance, etc. Suddenly, when you're living off your dividend income and interest income, you can't afford some of those stuff. So I said, look, 1.5 lakhs could be wrong. I'm not saying 1.5 lakhs into 30 is not 18 lakhs and 18 into 30 is 5.4 crores. Perfectly right. But that 10% is what you have saved and you have invested pretty late in life. You did not get too much time with the power of compounding. And also the markets were high when you started investing. Yes, it went down a little bit, but the amount of units you accumulated when the market went down was not very high. Right, so therefore you don't have enough corpus. Therefore what you have to attack is that 1.5 per month instead of trying to attack the return yield. I mean, you cannot do anything to improve the yields too high, right? So what should one be doing? Well, first of all, you should be saving as much as you can, and you should be investing aggressively in your 30s, 40s and maybe even your mid 50s, right? Then get your priorities and your goals clearly in paper and pencil or in an Excel sheet. Be very clear about all that, and I'm talking of this post retirement, right? So you will have some goals, you will have some objectives, you will want some travel to be done, right? So whatever it is, have it written down. Second, quantify it. Third, adjust it for inflation, and then decide what you can do, what you can't do. Now, if there is something for which you require a lot more money, maybe you should just abandon it. Maybe a world tour is not within your reach. Right? If your children are in Australia or America, whatever, wherever they are, and they want you to be there with them, they pay for the ticket, they pay for the stay, right? They do all that. Only then you can afford to go. So this couple had one daughter in New Zealand or Australia, I'm not very sure, and they said, no, how can we ask her for money? Honest to God, I don't know from where these people come, and I don't know why I meet them, because I had to be very blunt. I said, boss, you can't afford it. Your budget does not allow you a vacation in Goa, and you're talking of going to New Zealand. And I said, most important is not the question of the air tickets, it's the question of insurance that you need. That is going to hurt you, right? So understand what you can do, because 10% saving is not the minimum. It is the minimum, not the maximum. So save aggressively, invest aggressively. Both are necessary in your younger age, and at the older age you have to cut down your expenses if you don't have enough money. You cannot say, Subra, what can I do to get 24% return to meet my goals? No, something is wrong with the goals. Rethink the goals, right? These goals are not attainable for you given your level of income. And nobody is going to tell you this. No website, no advisor, nobody is going to tell you. I can tell you because I don't care a damn whether you listen to me or no. That's the advantage of running a blog or a channel without worrying too much about revenue. I don't have to worry about revenue, so I can afford to antagonize you. Sorry to say it, I hope I'm not sounding very arrogant, but after you set your goals, you quantify your goals, you multiply it by inflation, etc., and then set your savings target accordingly when you're 54, 55, because you still have another 5 years to earn. So maybe you should save much more and reduce the risk, because you can't afford to take risk. What happens if you wipe out your money? Your daughter is in New Zealand. You're not going to go and live there in New Zealand, right? So you got to live here. You don't have the option of moving in with your daughter, right? So having said all this, maybe you can sell your house, relocate, but today resale value of old flats is not too high unless your house is going for a reconstruction or something. So that possibility is also not high. And please reduce your return expectations. You cannot get 13-14% in equity going forward. Looks very difficult. Inflation is low. Interest rates have been kept low internationally by all big banks, the Fed and Japan and Euro. Everybody has kept it low. So to improve the return, you need to take equity risk. There is absolutely no doubt about that. But how much of equity risk can you afford? There is one, need to take risk. Second, willingness to take risk. Third is ability to take risk. In your case, the ability to take risk is not there. If you die young and your wife lives till the age of 105, she is going to need the money to last till she is 105, right? So you cannot take too much risk. You should not take too much risk, because taking too much risk may not be a very sensible thing to do, because you don't have any support, any backup support. Given these circumstances, you should be looking to cutting your expenses rather than trying to improve your yields. You can always try. There will be enough charlatans who will come and tell you how this fund has got 24% return last year and 48% year before that. I think it's a perfect disaster, because 48 and 24 is very likely to be followed by a minus 15. But if you don't know, I mean, I'm not getting into how to invest and all that, but be very clear that you have to recalibrate how much you are saving, how much you are investing, what kind of returns you're getting. But just because you don't have enough money and you have bigger goals to achieve, you cannot tweak the return that you get from equity and say, I hope to get 24% in equity, so I'm safe. No, you can't hope to get more than 10% in equity or debt post taxes, right? So debt will be even lesser, but equity also, expectation of anything more than 10% is likely to hurt you, especially if inflation is low, right? Thank you.